Okay, good luck, everybody. We began on Erev Shabbos Kodesh. We began the Perek HaZahav, and we saw something, the concept of a Kinyan Chalipin, where it's really you're going ahead and you're using it to buy. Tonight we'll get a little more clarity. The difference between bartering, let's say, a para for a chamar versus Kinyan Chalipin, which is used for damim. In other words, you're buying something but with cash, and you're using, and when you're buying something with cash, there's two components. One that's called kaspa and one that's called peira. One that's called the kesef and one that's called the peiri. So we saw that when it comes to silver, if you're going ahead and buying gold, that the silver is the kesef and the gold is what is the peiri. And the halacha is that in the Kinyan, the peiri has to be kind of the kesef. The peiri has to be kind of the kesef versus the kesef being kind of the kli. That's the way it works. So the Mishnah said the azav kind of like kesef. The zav can be kind of kesef, but kesef can't be kind of zahav. And we got into up a point. I really started it on Friday because it was on the daf, but I think it really behooves us to go ahead and go over it. And we're going to start from Tanan Hassam. If you look at the Tosfos, Echad Mechafei Dinarim Zahav, the second Tosfos on page Mem Dalit Amid Beis, if you look at that Tosfos and go down 3 lines in the Gemara, in the middle it says Tanan Hassam. Okay, we did this on Friday, but again, the whole Gemara is going to be predicated, at least the first part of the shir is going to be predicated upon this, so let's get some clarity. Tanan Hassam, Mesechta Ma'aser Sheni, Beishama Yoimrim, Lo Yasa Adam Sloyim Dinrei Zahav. A person, guys, a sela is a silver coin. A dinar is, now there are dinarim of silver, but when the Gemara here is talking about dinarim, it's talking about gold. So we'll make it very easy. When it says sela, it means silver. When it says dinar, it means gold. When it says ma'os, it means copper. Okay, so that again, that's very important. Sela is silver, and ma'ah is copper, and dinar is gold. So now, Tanan Hassam. A person loyasa adam saloyim din rezav. You have moist ma'aser sheni. You should make silver into gold. Ubeis Hillel matirim. Beis Hillel says you could do it. Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish Chada Amar machloikis b'saloyim al dinarim. Machloikis is silar mal dinarim. Now, if silar mal dinarim, it must be that the gold is the gold is the peri, and the silver is the cash. Again, you can't turn cash into peri, again, in the Kinyan, and this is speaking about switching over, Maisa, you want to go ahead and make it a little easier upon yourself, not schlepping many silver coins, because one dinar of gold is equal to 25 dinarim of silver. So therefore, you can't do it. Why? Because it's not, according to Beis Shammai, because the dinar is gold, the dinar is considered pre. Mashen came Beis Hillel says you could do it. It must be the dinar of gold is considered kesef. It must be considered kaspa. The Beis Shammai saw a kaspa tava, that the kesef, the silver is what is tava is the coin with the hava peri, and therefore what's our rule? You can't go ahead and in chalifin go be machlif the silver for the peri, the cash for the peri. The tiva apri loy mechalinan, and a coin on pri you can't be mechalo. A coin on a pri you can't be mechalo. Beis Hillel is of the opinion kaspa peri, the kesef, the silver, the seller is the peri, but the hava teva, and of course you could be mechalel the peris on the coin. That's what you want to do. Good. Okay, so this is speaking about, fellas, a coin of Ma'aser Sheni to a coin of Ma'aser Sheni, and the machlokes is, how do you view the gold? Beis Shammai views the gold what as a coin, and Beis Hillel as a coin, and Beis Hillel views it as what as the pre. Now, the opposite. Ava peris al dinarim. If you're taking fruit of Ma'aser Sheni, the initial pidyon, you take the fruit al dinarim on gold. Divrei akol mechalolinin. Everyone said you could do it. So, in other words, when it comes to cash, silver, and when it comes to cash, silver, and peri, so Beis Shammai views the gold as a pre, and you can't be machlif the coin on a pre. But when it comes to a pre vis-a-vis the gold, then he says the gold is cash. So it's not just etched in stone that a dinner of gold is treated as peri. That's only vis-a-vis silver. When it's compared to cash, when it's compared to the Paris, now obviously Paris is Paris, then the gold is considered what? Considered kesef, and of course you could go ahead and switch Paris to Ma'aser Sheni. So the Gemara wants to say now that Beis Shammai would be moida if you're using Paris, that the gold is not a pre, but the gold is considered cash. Guys, you good? Now, my timer, midi dahavi kesef the Beis Hillel. Kesef the Beis Hillel, afagav the kaspel gabe dahava peri have, even though silver vis-a-vis dinarim is considered the pre, legabe peri tivohave, when it comes to Paris, it's considered cash. Right? Beis Hillel, what did Beis Hillel say? Beis Hillel said you could be machlef. Why? Because you could be machlef because it's considered a peri. You could put the gold into the silver, it considered it's a peri. Masha'en came when it comes to Paris, it's considered cash. Zov nami lebeis Shammai afagav the dahava legabe kaspa peri have legabe peri tavo have. Okay. So that's Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, and v'chad omar af Paris al dinarim machloikis, even Paris al dinarim machloikis. Okay, so let's go back, and again, it's a hard parak. It's a lot of words, and unless you get it straight, it doesn't. It's very easy for me to read it and type and go weiter, but that's not my style. So we have in Kinyan Chalipin, and when it comes to, so Chalipin means you have to go ahead and make the Kinyan in the pre. So by Ma'aser Sheni, you have to take the pre and put it on money. So whatever the pre is, if you're using making a Kinyan in the kesef, then it's not going to work. It has to be the Kinyans in the pre. So Beis Hillel says Beis Shammai says you go from silver to gold, no can do. Well, no can do because silver is the cash and this is the pre. Beis Hillel says no, you could do it. You could do it. Why? Because silver is the peri and that's the cash. Okay. What about Paris to gold? According to Beis Shammai, we want to suggest now that you could do it. Why? Because you're making, since that's the peri and this is what the gold vis-a-vis Paris is considered cash. Good. That's one opinion. It's a machloikas Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. The one opinion is you could do it, and here's the other opinion. The chadama af Paris al dinar machloikas. It's still machloikas across the board. Across the board. Now, what's the bigger chiddush, fellas? The bigger chiddush is that you can't be mechalel Paris on gold, correct? So if you can't be mechalel Paris on gold, why do you have to tell me you can't be mechalel silver on gold? It says the Gemara, "U'madi af Paris al dinar machloikas adamifli b'saloyim al dinarim." Why are you arguing silver al dinarim, which is less of a chiddush? Liflik with Paris al dinarim. Go ahead and argue by Paris al dinarim, which is a bigger chiddush. It says the Gemara, "Iflik with Paris al dinarim." If you're going to go ahead and say that they argue by Paris al dinarim whether you can mechal or not, have amina means that machloikis is only by Paris. Hani mili by Paris al dinarim. Then there's machloikis. Al besloim al dinarim. When it comes to Sela al dinarim, everyone will be moida that Sela is the peri is the silver is the cash, and dinarim the gold is the pre. And moidel who Beis Hillel, and therefore Beis Hillel will be moidel Beis Shammai. The havel gabe kaspa peri have v'loy mechalin the kamash malon. The reason why you tell me the machloikas by silver and gold is the chiddush that even vis-a-vis silver, Beis Hillel views it as cash. Okay, now. We don't know who says what. So again, there is a machloikis. One says that there's no machloikis Beis Shammai Beis Hillel when it comes to Paris to be machalal, and one says there's still a machloikis. We don't know who says what. We know they were stated both by Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Now the Gemara goes ahead and says the following: Tistayim, I'll bring you a raya. Rabbi Yochanan who da'amar a mechalalin. I'll bring you a raya. Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says that what a mechalalin. That if you take Paris and you want to be mechalel, that it doesn't work. I'll bring you right. He's the one who says it. Okay, guys, are we set up? Guys, we set up, right? Again, if you don't understand anything until now, here's the question. You have Paris of Ma'aser Sheni. You have gold coins. we know that to schlep to Yerushalayim, we know that you can't go ahead and schlep, right? So what do? You take the kedusha of the Ma'aser Sheni and you put it on coins. Is gold considered what? Is gold considered cash? And therefore you could do it or not? That's the question. There's a machlokes Beis Shammai and there's machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish if Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel arguing that or not. We want to say that Rabbi Yochanan says that they argue there as well. Just like they argue by silver and gold, they're arguing by Paris and gold. So that's what we're trying to bring a raya now to that opinion. The stein Rabbi Yochanan who da'ama emachalim. Dam Rabbi Yochanan. Amen Aleph. Asa lil voice dinar b'dinar. Okay, fellas, we said the other day, I hope you listened to this share, that when it comes to buying, borrowing, I'm going to borrow a saw of chitin, a saw of wheat from you, and I'm going to pay you back a saw. The Rabbanan said no can do. Because if it goes up in price, right, you have made money. The guy who lent it to you is making money. He's getting back a bushel that he lent you at $100, the bushel's now worth $150. So even though it's a ribis d'Rabbanan, because it's not ribis ketsutza, it's not set ribis, as we're going to see in a few weeks. It's us now. If I give you a gold coin, and I'm going to pay you back the same gold coin, if you view gold coins as peri, it should be the same problem of sa b'sa. So says Rabbi Yochanan, asa lo bais dinar b'dinar. Now it's asa to go ahead, Rod, and lend a dinar for a dinar. Now dinar demai, what dinar are we speaking about? Ilay medina shel kesef, b'dinar shel kesef. If it's silver for silver, l'gabe nafshe miyiklam adiyam alab tevahave. Regarding itself, there's no one who says that it's not cash. And by cash, guys, we say that even if it goes up in price, it's not going up in price. It's the buying power that goes in price, right? That's what we said the other day. Elapshita must be speaking dina shel zav b'dina shel zav, which, of course, it's a pre itself. That gold itself has a value and it goes up and down. It fluctuates. So now you have someone says it's asa to go ahead and lend gold and be paid back gold coins. It's asa. That's what it says. Now, who said this? Beis Hillel or Beis Shammai? Beis Hillel ha'amateva havi. Beis Hillel said you could take silver and go ahead and be paid there on gold. Why? Because he held gold was cash. So obviously, cash is not a rib's problem. So this line, the top line of the Gemara, that it's asa to go ahead and lend gold for gold, can't be according to Rabbi Beis Hillel. Ella must be la Beis Shammai. It must be Beis Shammai. And who says this, guys? The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, asa lil voice dinar b'dinar. So who's saying this? It's Rabbi Yochanan and Beis Shammai. Ushma min Rabbi Yochanan hu the Amar ein mechalolinin. It must be says you can't go ahead and be mechalal on. He'll always view dinar as what? As a pre. So memela peri on another pre doesn't work. So therefore, that we wanted to say on the Amid Aleph, one said the machloikis is still by Paris to gold. We want to suggest it's not Reish Lakish, it's Rabbi Yochanan. Says the Gemara, no, loy, you have no raya. La'olam eimlech, I'll tell you Rabbi Yochanan who. La'olam, I'll tell you what, it's Rabbi Yochanan. The Amar Mechalolina, that you could be Mechalol Paris of Ma'aser Sheni on a gold coin. You could do it. So why does it say above it's asa to go ahead and lend gold for gold? The shiny halva. Halva is different than chilel. Even the inyan mekach umemka shabi rabbanon kiperi. Since the inyan mekach umemka will view the gold as a peri because it itself fluctuates. Daminan ihu nihu the oiker vizil. It's the one that went up in price and down in price. Legabe halva nami peri havi. Legabe halva it's also. Where zustelling fell is chilel of Ma'aser Sheni to halva. Top line of the Gemara. Asa lil voice dinar b'dinar. It's asa to lend a one gold coin for the purpose of being packed in other gold coin. By mekuch memkar, we say that gold will view a gold coin as a peri. So who within halva, which is similar to mekuch memkar, will view it as a peri. When it comes to go ahead and taking the fruit and being mechalel on a coin, we can view the dinar zahav as cash. So you have no raya. Okay, one more time, guys, listen up. I know I'm repeating it a lot because I want you to get it. Okay, we're in the sugya of Perek HaZahav. We know that in Kinyonim, that in whether it's Mekel Chumemka or it's Chilel, you have to go ahead and take the cash on the coin. So in other words, by Chilel, it's taking the peiris and putting it on the coin, and by Mekel Chumemka, it's making Mashicha in the peri and not in the coin. That's what we said. Right. We saw that gold is considered, according to Beis Shammai, by Chilel, it's considered peiris. It's considered peiris. And therefore, you can't go ahead and take a selah and take the coin of Ma'aser Sheni and be paid on peiris, because it has to be the opposite. It has to be take the peiris and be paid on the coin. So you can't go that way. We want to now prove that even by peiris, on peiris vis-a-vis peiris in coin, that we'll view gold as peri. Why? Because it's also to lend gold for gold. Why? Because it's peiris. And we know by halva, you can't go ahead and lend sa for a sa. You can't do it because it may go up in price. So let's assume that has the same halacha. So just like by Hillel, it's considered peiris. Just like by halva, it's considered peiris. By Hillel, it's considered peiris. And the Gemara says no. By Mekel Chumemka and halva, gold is considered a peri. Mashen came by what? By Hillel. Going ahead, taking the kedusha off, it can be considered cash. Hachanami mistabra, says the Gemara, that Rabbi Yochanan holds that it's considered the chilik between Chilel and the halva. The chiyasa Ravin, Rabbi Yochanan, and Ravin came up from Eretz Yisrael to Babel. He said, named Rabbi Yochanan, Afa pisha amru asa lil voice dina b'dinar, even though it's asa to go ahead and lend one dinar for another dinar. Why? Because that's their chava. But you could be mechalin ma'aser sheni on a gold coin. Shmami no, you have a very good raya that Linyan Chilul, he considers it what? He considers it cash. Okay, I just have to excuse myself for 1 second. Okay, give me holding that Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that when it comes to halva, we'll view gold as peri. When it comes to chil ma'aser sheni, will you view it as cash and you can be paid on it ma'aser sheni? Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Again, it's one big sugya. Toshma. Now, hapoirit sela mimois. Now, what was the rule of thumb? A sela is silver, a sela is slime silver, and mois is what? Is copper. So what are you doing? Right? You're switching sela mimois ma'aser sheni. You're switching sela into what? Into copper coins. You can go ahead and make the whole sela 768 prutas. B'shekel kesef, b'shekel mois half, only half, but you have to keep some silver. In other words, take the sela, 2 shkolim, you divide it, shekel, and you have to always keep one. You have to keep prutas available. Now, Rashi brings a very interesting reason, fellas. If you're going to go ahead and everyone's going to go, you're going to go to Yerushalayim and everyone's going to have silver. When you go to the money changer, there's going to be a run on the prutas. Again, prutas was the copper, was the oivel soicher. So when you go, you're going to want to buy stuff. Everyone comes to Yerushalayim. They switch all their silver into what? Into copper. The money shulchan, therefore, the copper is going up. The shulchan, he takes a piece. And as a result, it's going to be more, Ma'aser Sheni is going to not have, you're not going to have the buying power because you spent more money on the copper. So that's the reason Beis Hillel says, fascinating. That's the reason Beis Hillel says you don't switch the whole thing up. This is going up to Yerushalayim. Now, when you were poirit sela mimois Ma'aser Sheni, that means you had silver coins of Ma'aser Sheni and you were putting it into copper coins of Ma'aser Sheni. So in other words, guys, you took the peiris, you were paid there into silver. Now you're taking the kesef rishon and you're being paid it in kesef sheni. Good. So you were able to go ahead and take peiris and put into silver. Now you're taking silver and putting it into copper. Good. So now that's the point we need. So haparit selim mas masheni beishamai yom beischasel mas beisuloy men b'shekel kes b'shekel. Hashla beishamai legabe priti mechalolinin. Telling me that you can put sela into a pruta, correct? Sela into a pruta legabe the havami boy, which is considered more chashiv. Obviously, what? Obviously, gold is much more chashiv. So if you're able to go from silver to kappa, you should be able to go from silver to gold. So how can Beis Shammai hold that gold is considered peri when this fact that you see that what that even copper is considered cash? Certainly, this should be considered cash. It says more shiny priti, ba'asru desagin charifi. Good, it's more chashiv, but as we saw, when it comes to cash, more important than chashivas, fellas, is the ability to use it. In other words, if you in the old days, if you had $100 bill, it was something, and a $10 bill, right? Because a $100 bill was hard to get rid of. You go to a store, it's a $100 bill, right? Bisman said it's nothing. But in those days, in our lifetime, it was something. You walked in with $100 bills, the person said, "What are you talking about?" So it wasn't over less seicher. It wasn't something that that was cost effective that you can go ahead and quickly use. So therefore, but copper was memela. Copper is cash, even though gold would be peri. Lishna achrina, guys. We have another lashon. Okay, another lashon. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shlakish. Chad Amar, another lashon to the Tran Hasam, which we began today's share with. Chad Amar machloikis b'saloyim al dinarim. The whole machloikis is silver to dinarim, where Beis Shammai says no and Beis Hillel says yes. The Beis Shammai savri hakesef kesef rishon v'loy kesef sheni. B'tzarta hakesef b'yodcha. Guys, hakesef. The money of Ma'aser Sheni cannot be a secondary pidyon. It has to be the original pidyon. You can go from Paris. You can go from Paris to Ma'aser Sheni. You can't go from money of Ma'aser Sheni to money of Ma'aser Sheni. Good. You can't do a second pidyon. Besil Savi hakesef. When it says the word hakesef, is as kesef riboy. Hakesef. It says it could have said kesef. It says hakesef. It's a ribui, it's an inclusion that afilu kesef sheni, even a second pidyon you could do. Aval peris al dinarim, the original pidyon from peris al dinarim, divya kol machalin. Everyone says you could. The akasi kesef rishon who, because everyone says what it's kesef rishon. The charama av peris al dinarim nami machlekes. And so in other words, in the first lashon between machlekes between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan was could you machalol peris what on. Could you mechalel Paris on? There was machlokes in Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Do they argue on Paris to coin to gold? That was the machlokes. Now the machlokes is what? Could you go from Paris to gold? But not because of the reason of that it's a peri. Not the reason because it's a peri. The reason because what? It's kesef sheni. In other words, it's the same machlokes but a different tam now. In the original tam, it was gold considered a pri or not? If it's considered a pri, you can't. If it's considered cash, you could. Now the machlokes is can you go from can you go even to this? Because he would consider it a peri over here. He would consider it a peri over here. That's the only svara to say that it won't work. Guys, since it's kesef rishon, you're going from Paris to gold, there got to be a reason. That reason would be that why it's considered a pri. Rashi says. Anyway, says the Gemara. The Mandiam says the machlokes is by silver and dinarim. Why are they arguing from silver to gold? Fellas, if you're telling me it has nothing to do with the fact that it's gold, but the fact that it's the second time around, so just go ahead and say you can't go ahead and be paida silver Ma'aser Sheni to silver Ma'aser Sheni. It has nothing to do with the metallic value. It has everything to do with the fact that it's the second time around. So why do you say it's dependent upon silver to gold? Even silver to silver would be a problem because it's the second time around. It says the Gemara, if they would argue on the second time around, I would have thought, the whole machlokes is silver as silver. I would say silver to gold, Beis Hillel is Maida. The Chiddush is what in Beis Hillel. Tashma. Haporit sela shel ma'aser sheni b'Yushalayim. So now you're in Yerushalayim. You have silver, and you're changing what the sela into what into nechayshis. Beishamay oimim b'chol sela mois. Go ahead and go for the whole. Switch over the whole thing. Beisil oimim b'shekel kesef b'shekel mois only half. Now, obviously, that what the silver was ma'aser sheni money. Hashta kaspel legabe priti, the same kash as we said above. It's just in the second lashon. Now, silver to copper mechalolinon v'lo yaminon kesef rishon v'lo kesef sheni legabe dahava dechoshev minei mi yaminon kesef rishon v'lo kesef sheni. If you can go from again, it's the same kasha we had in the Reisha, just with the knach of the lishon achrina that it's totally in the kesef rishon and the kesef sheni. It's the same kasha. If you go ahead and go from existing ma'aser sheni silver to existing ma'aser sheni, now ma'aser sheni copper, which is the second pidyon, why can't I go from existing silver to existing gold, which is choshev, and the same kasha that it's so Amarava Yerushalayim kamaseves. You're asking for Yerushalayim shani Yerushalayim dechsiv beiv v'nasata kesef b'chol shetavis nafshecha. In other words, we want you to spend money. It's easy to spend money if it's copper. So the same teretz, but in Yerushalayim you're going to go ahead and buy stuff. How are you going to buy stuff? Using copper coins. Okay. Ashma, another challenge. If you're going ahead and switching silver to copper, the whole thing. So what do you see? You see that what? That there's no problem with kesef sheni, guys. Guys, what did Beis Shammai said? It says you can only do it once. Read, listen to my words. He says you can only do it once. Hapoirit sela, that's the sela is ma'aser sheni. That means that was the first pidyon. Mimois ma'aser sheni, and you're making it into what? Into a poirit, into what? Into mois. What's mois? Copper. So that's the second time around. Beis Shammai yoimim that you could do the whole thing. 1 second. According to Beis Shammai, you shouldn't be able to do anything. Like Beis Shammai, you shouldn't be able to do anything. It's the second pidyon, guys. It's a mamish gavaldige slug up. Furish Mishnah in Ma'aser Sheni. Perik Dalid Mishnah Ches. Says the Gemara, Perik Beis Mishnah Ches. Perik Beis Mishnah Ches. Okay, so guys, Beis Shammai says you can never do a second transaction. Here you see you could do a second transaction. Ela de Kuli Alma HaKesef Kesef Riboy. V'Nasata HaKesef. And they could have said Kesef. It says HaKesef. Even Beis Shammai would say what? You could do it. So what's shot in the Lishna Achrina? Vafilu Kesef Sheni. Eliyit Mad Reb Yochanan Reb Shimon Melokish. You want to learn the Machlokes? It can't be on Kesef Rishon Kesef Sheni. Hachi et Mar. Here's the way you have to learn the Machlokes. Kad Omar Machlokes B'Soloim Al Dinarim. One says going from silver to gold, because gold will be the peri. The Beis Shammai survey Gazrinon, but Gazrinon Shema Yisha Ali Yosef. Maybe you'll go ahead and delay, right? Going up. The Zimnin delay Moli Zuze Bedinra. You won't be able to get 25 silver dinarim together to switch to gold. Like Masik Bahu. You want to attain it. Ubesil Sabre Loy Gazrinon Shema Yisha Ali Yosef. We're not worried. The Chiloy Moli Nami Bedinra, even if you're a little short, Asuki Masik Lahu, you're going to go ahead and bring it up. Avol Paris Al Dinre Divya Kol Mechalolinon. Right? Everyone would say that what? That everyone would say that you can be mechalo. Even why that Paris, the Mekarve, they get rotten. Leimashit Lahu, a person's not going to keep it around. I'm going to explain all this in a second. Okay, so now we're going ahead, Rod, and we're coming up with a Gezeri D'Rabbanan, guys. We're coming up with a whole different, the whole reason this thing about silver and gold has nothing whatsoever to do with it being a peri. It has nothing whatsoever to do with being Kesef Rishon Kesef Sheni. Again, first Lashon, silver to gold, you can't do because gold is a peri. Second Lashon, silver to gold, you can't, nothing to do with gold, but the fact that what? That it was the pidyon Sheni. Good? That's not the reason. If you are permitted to go ahead and switch silver to gold, so here you are, you don't want to schlep a lot. You got 25 silver coins, you have one gold coin. Naturally, one gold coin would be a lot easier to transport to Yerushalayim. Beis Shammai is worried about the following. If we allow you to switch silver to gold, maybe you'll be a quart short. Maybe you'll only have 24. Maybe you'll only have 23. And therefore, you won't go up. So that's a problem. So to avoid that problem, we say you can't do it. Says Beis Hillel, I'm not worried. The person will still go up. So that's the pshat when it says Siloyim l'denorim, you can't be machalo. You can't be machalo. It says Beis Shammai, why? We're geyser because maybe you won't go up. Says Beis Hillel, you're not geyser. What about Paris? Then what about Paris? Paris, we're not geyser because Paris, right? Everyone says Paris are going to rot. So you're not going to keep your Paris around not to go up. You're going to go up. They're going to rot. So therefore, you could be machalo. You could be machalo. In other words, let's say you have X amount of, you don't have enough Paris to be machalo on the coin, so you're not going to go up. No, you're going to go up anyway because it's going to rot otherwise. And says the other one, no, even in that case, you'd be worried. And that's the now. So we have three ways to explain the Gemara. The first one, al schilo. The second one, al kesef rishon, kesef sheni, which seem to be dinei de'araisa, that you can't go ahead and be machalel from kesef to Paris. You can't also go ahead hakesef a pasuk in the Torah. You can't be paid a second pidyon, and we have a gezerah d'Rabbanan. Okay, so now let's look back at the original Mishnah that we began the share with tonight, guys. Tanan Hasan, go back to the Amid Beis. Tanan Hasan, go back to the Amid Beis. Mem Dal and Amid Beis. Tanan Hasan. Remember, go parallel to the Tosfos, the second Tosfos, and go down 3 lines. Tanan Hasan. Beis Shammai oimrim lo yasa odam saloyim din reizahav. It says lo yase, you shouldn't make. You know what you should make means? It means you could do it, but don't. It means you should do it, but don't. You could do it. Because if it doesn't work, it should say, ein mechalelinon. You can't be mechalel. Beautiful diak. So it works well with the last lashon that it's a din d'Rabbanan, right? Din d'Rabbanan. Really, midaraisa, you could do it. Really, araisa, you could be mechalel. But lo yaseh, don't do it, it's keseri d'Rabbanan. But lo, the first two lashonis that it's a din d'Oraisa, it shouldn't say lo yaseh, it should say lo mechalelinan. Get back in the Gemara now. Bishleim alahach lishna, the amit the midaraisa mishra shari says midaraisa it's permitted. The last lashon Rabbanan who the gazru bay and the Rabbanan made a gezerah. Maybe you're going to keep it around and not go up to Yerushalayim. Hainu tani yaseh v'lo yaseh. That's what it says. Yaseh v'lo yaseh. Elahach lishna the amit the midaraisa pligi that they argue midaraisa mechalina v'lo mechalina in boile. You should say mechalina v'lo mechalinan. And that the Gemara answers kasha. Inachlaim it's kasha. So that's the sugya of Paris. Okay, new sugya. Itmar, Rav Levi. Now, guys, there's the Kinyan Chalipin is learned out from Rus. The Shalafish Na'aloi, person takes off his shoe, and what happened by Rus was the following: that Ploni Almoni was the Goyal, and Avimelech, Elimelech, right? Elimelech, right? Elimelech, not Avimelech, Elimelech, right? He had to go ahead and become the goyal. So Palimani took off his shoe, and he was makna to him the fields. He was makna the fields. That's called the Kenyan Sudar. So, this parak is the main source for it. Can you use a matbeya to facilitate the Kenyan? Can you use a matbeya to facilitate the Kenyan? In other words, instead of taking off your shoe, instead of using a kli, instead of by your chasna using a dirty yarmulke, right, or a pen, you didn't even know what the guy was doing. He's picking up a pen. The crazy, you didn't know what you're getting yourself into, right? But can you use coins to do that? And that seems to be machlokes. Itmar. Rav Levi chadam mapeya nasa chalipin. Mapeya can make chalipin. Chadam ein mapeya nasa chalipin. And one says, why not? Beya cannot go ahead and make chalipin. Amra Papa, my time of the Mandiyama ein mapeya nasa chalipin. What's the reason the Mandiyama says you can't? Mishum dedaite atsurasa. Atsurasa avidi de batala. The metallic point of the coin is not the what gives it its value is the tsura. And the tsura, let's say, I guess the easiest way I can explain it to you, in a year or two, let's say, they're going to be mavatal an Andrew Jackson bill. Where they're going to put Harriet Tubman on, and no longer would that bill be accepted. So the tsura makes the bill. I think it's not true because it still will be accepted. I'm giving you a tsura of the tsura. Don't excuse the pun. I'm giving you a tsura of the tsura of exactly how it works. So since his das is on the tsura, not the coin, therefore you can't do it. Okay, so that's the machlokes. One says you could, one says you can't. Tanan. Hazov koines kesef, zohov, which is the peri, could be koine the kesef. My live b'chalipin. Now, what are you doing, guys? I'm bartering. What am I doing? When you use the kinyan suitor and you corner the field, obviously the suitor is worth nothing. You're making a chalipin, right? So it's not, you're not using mitar's damim. Okay, let me explain. There's two types of chalipin. Guys, listen up very carefully, please. There's two types of chalipin. You know what? I want this bottle of water, and I'm really, really thirsty, and I'm willing to go ahead and give you my iPhone. So that's a great deal. So if you pick up the bottle of water, this iPhone automatically is in the other person's rishus. It belongs to him already. It's there. It belongs to him. That's it. That's the typical chalipin. That's you're bartering something for something else. There's another type of chalipin that's called chalipin damin. In other words, you're buying something, you're using cash, but you're not using mashich, you're using the cash. So in other words, if this was worth, let's say the iPhone's worth $100 and this bottle is worth $100, so I'm buying the iPhone by picking this up. So the havamin of the Gemara is that you're bartering gold for silver. And you're saying that what? That you could be koina. 1 second, you just told me a coin cannot facilitate a kinyan chalipin. And now you're telling me it could. And the answer is, we're not speaking about that kinyan chalipin. We're speaking about the kinyan chalipin when you're using the coin as that you're buying. I'm buying 25 silver dinarim for 1 dinar of gold. I'm buying it. In other words, I'm not making the kinyan suda where it doesn't equal it. I'm actually buying it. The kinyan suda, part of a chama was not a good example. The kinyan suda is a better example. We're using it as a symbol. Simply, you're picking up something with that. It's facilitating the kinyan. That's what we're speaking about. So that's the Gemara. So you were telling me that one of them says you can't, and one of them says you could. Kasha, and the one says that you can't. Azov koines akesef, my lab bechalipin, you koine bechalipin, shmamina mapei nasa chalipin. Says maloi bedamim. You're using it mitaris damim. You're not mitaris chalipin. You're using. I'm buying 25 silver dinarim for 1 gold silver, for 1 gold dinar. Yihachi hazov koines akesef. It says hazov koines akesef. It doesn't require it. Mechayiv mi boile. Fellas, the difference between the kinyan chalipin and damim is by chalipin already it belongs to you already. You koine it. By the kinyan of damim, it's mechuyev that you can't go back on the deal, but it's not yours until it comes to the rishus. So for the Gemara Kasha, you're telling me it's speaking about damim, that you're using gold to buy silver. Why do you say that you're koine the silver? You're not koine the silver. You're mechayiv to pay him the gold, but you're not koine the silver. For the Gemara Yechachi, it's speaking about kinyan damim. Hazov koines akesef mechayiv mi boile. You should say what? You're mechayiv. And for the Gemara Einachinami, Tani Hazov mechayiv. Learn that the Zav is mechayiv you. Hachanami mistabra, that it's speaking about kinyan damim, fellas. It's not speaking an outright chalipin, but it's speaking about damim. The Tani Seifa, hakesef ein koina es hazav, that silver cannot acquire gold. Ian b'shleim b'damim hainu daminon the hava peri v'kaspa tava. The hava is the peri, the kesef is the cash. You made the kinyan in the cash, it doesn't work. The tava peri leikana. Eliyam b'chalipin. If you're speaking about kinyan chalipin, guys, kinyan chalipin has nothing to do with value. It has to do with tit for tat. So the chayri should be kaina. Ella, the raya that silver is not kaina, the gold is a raya that it's speaking about damim, and it's not speaking about outright chalipin. So you have no raya kasha on the man. The who says that a matbeya cannot go ahead and facilitate chalipin. V'oi tanya, another raya, the hakesef ein a kaina esasav, ketzad. This is a raya that it's speaking about what? Damim, guys. Speaking about damim. You say kesef can't acquire zav, meaning I can't make a kinyan in 25 dinarim, silver dinarim, to acquire 1 dinar of gold, because I made the kinyan in the cash, not in the peri. Ketzad, machalei esem v'chamesh dinar shel kesef, b'dinar shel zav. You are selling to a person 25 silver dinarim for 1 gold dinar. Even though you make a kinyan in the kesef, like kana, mashach means like here means you made hagbah. It made hagbah. It means hagbah, guys. You magbir the kesef, like kana, you don't acquire the gold until you make a hagbah in the gold. Bishleim, you tell me it's worth this chalipin is worth mitayos damim and not outright chalipin. Mishum hachi like kana. That's why you're not kana the gold. Again, I told you can't go back on the deal, but the kinyan is not in your rishus until you get it. If you tell me it's outright chalipin, niknim, you should go ahead and acquire it. Good, you should acquire it, and you don't. It says so you tell me it's damim mihachi ema reisha hasav koines a kesef. Right? What's the case of zog koines a kesef? Machalei dinri shel zahav be'esem chamish darim shel kesef. You're going ahead and selling him 1 dinar of zav for 25 silver dinarim. Since you make a kinyan in the kesef, you're acquiring it any place it is. Now, that's chalipin, guys. If you're speaking about damim, you're not quiet b'chol makom. Again, damim does the following. You can't go back on the deal, but it's not in your rishus yet. Chalipin puts it in your rishus. Fred Gemara yetz. It says b'chol makom, mashmi yakaina wherever it is. So if you're telling me it's mitaris damim, why am I acquire it wherever it is? Mamish classic chalipim. If you're telling me it's damim, it's mischayev the guy to give him the gold, but not that he. So the chayd, it's a kasha. The ratio, the safe is mashma damim. The safe is mashma chalipin. Ravashi oilam b'damim. Even the ratio is speaking b'damim. What do you mean b'chol makoim? Umay b'chol makoim? Shehu ki moishehu ki moishe. What does Rashi say? Ki moishehu ki moishe hisna imay, like the tanai he made with him. Ki moishehu ki amalei, whatever he told him. For example, amalei me arnaki chadasha yavin lecha. I'm going to give you the coin from. I'm going to give you the silver coins from a new batch. Then what? You can't give him from an old batch. Afagav dadi for me now, even though the better. My timer, the amalei liyashna kami boil kabin lahu. I want to go ahead and keep it around. I want to keep it around. So again, we had a kasha on the man the Amahu from our Mishnah. That's why we brought this in the sugya, whether matbeya can make chalipin or not. The assumption is our Mishnah is speaking about kinyan chalipin, and the answer is our Mishnah is not speaking about kinyan chalipin at all. It's speaking about kinyan damin. Now that we finished the Gemara, I want to go back and do 2 Rashis with you. It'll help things make things a little clearer. Go up to the Rashi, fellas, about where the lines get thin, about 9 lines down. It says matbeya nasa chalipin. Habola hachlif matbeya b'davar acher. Someone's coming to go ahead and switch a matbeya for something else. Shaloi b'toiris mekoch memkar. Not that you're using the coin as something to purchase something. Ela b'toiris kinyan. You're using it symbolic as a kinyan. Kiderech shekoinen b'sudar. Just like you coin something with kinyan sudar. Shehakoina noisin sudar. This is mamish the Rashi for kinyan chalipin and shas. Kiderech shekoinen b'sudar. Shehakoina, the one that is acquiring, noisin sudar lemakne, gives the sudar to the one who's selling. For who makna loy hakarka. And with the picking up of the person's sudar, he's makna to his karka to that person. Ayametaltalin, or something else, b'meshicha, b'tagbah, shu moishech hasudar, when he's moishech, he picks up the sudar. Kidichsiv, shlaf ish noloy, each person took off his shoe. The nasan riyeh, and we give it to his friend. So we take out the sudar, and we give it to our friend. The koiner gives it, the one who is acquiring, af matbeya, even coins, even we learned in our Mishnah, if you give money, you're not kaina, but only in mishapara. That's when you give it as a means of purchasing something. You're using the coin not as a symbol of a kinyan, you're using the coin as value. If you give it to use as a symbol, once the person is mashach the mois, if you hold that a matbei is nasa chalipin, then niknale chayfetz shlei b'chol makom shehu. You'll acquire the chayfetz any place that it is. I think that's an important Rashi to see. Okay, tomorrow morning, Bez Hashem, a little more.